All right, so what we want to do is we just want to take a couple minutes and give you a couple of movements that will just help you start the week off a little better. How's that sound? So the first one we're going to do, we'll do one Osteofascial Release and we'll do one Fascial Mobiliser. Deal?
Fantastic.
So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of address the deep front line. And this is an internal line that's the core, but we're going to try to help you move and feel and live a little bit better today through the thoracic spine, through the shoulder ring as we would call it, and try to free that up. Now we're going to go to a place actually in the pelvic ring to help free up a little bit up the chain.
And Roddy, it's really important to understand that when we start talking about this, about the shoulder ring, we need to understand that the shoulder ring sits into the pelvis, and if we can get the pelvic ring now to start to have the freedom, to have the ability to move, it's going to allow you to now lift, get space, and not be so compressed. So it's going to allow you to breathe, move, and it's going to allow you to actually have better clarity into the cranium.
Right, so what we're going to do is, if you have a seat, some type of step or seat, and a roller, now we're using just an everyday basic roller, so nothing specific. A lot of times we use more of a trigger point, a shorter roller, but here we have this, and so we're going to use what we have. On the seat, you're going to place the roller at a diagonal, basically perpendicular to your thigh. So my thigh is here, and I'm going to go right there, and we're right on the ischial tuberosity, so your sit bone, right when you would sit, almost in a little bit of an adductor stretch. And with that on the bone, you're just going to roll gently side to side. You can lean forward slightly to bring it closer to the front part of the pelvis. And then you can move back or sit back and bring it more posterior or to the back side. And it's a slow roll. Try to keep the roll slow so the tissue doesn't stiffen and resist you.
This area will be very, very sensitive because of what we do on a daily basis. We sit a lot, we do repetitive movement a lot, we create patterns now that create the stickiness in through this pelvic region. And the interesting thing about that is this is directly connected to how we can actually breathe. So when we talk about getting out of our throat or being up here to exercise, if we can get this area to free, it's going to allow us now to be able to connect, communicate, and to create the optimal movement and feeling that we want.
So as you're rolling, you're going from just where the adductors insert and the hamstrings insert up into the ischial tuberosity, and you're going to come over just to where the pelvic floor inserts there. So you're going right over that bone on both of those insertions. You only need to do about 4 or 5 rolls in any given place. So posterior, medial, and more anterior, or back, middle, and front. And then once you've done that, now you're going to grip that skin and you're just going to shift front to back. I hold the roller so it doesn't slide. You're just going to shift front to back because now we're going in a different direction and we're taking that. Front to back.
We want you to breathe. We want you to relax in this position. Don't try and force it. Just allow the tissue to give, because remember, you've got tissue that's got a lot of water in it. You've got tissue that actually has a lot of neural activity in it. And you've got tissue that reacts mechanically. So we need to be able to get this tissue to give by asking it, not telling it, not forcing it.
Yeah. And so before you do that, you can just kind of sit up and down, or you can go side to side. Do a little metric so you can see what it feels like before. Go ahead and do that. Remember, about 4 rolls in each of those kind of 3 different sections, back, middle, front of it, and then shift back and forth in the front, in the middle, and in the back. And then go back and do your sit again, and I like that because now I have freedom. It was kind of grumpy on me. So let's do a mobilizer.
So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take it into a kneeling position, Roddy, because in this situation here, I want to address this, but I also want to address this, because as we said, we've got a scenario now where we've gone to an OFR to get into the inner hip capsule to allow us to be in a better position to breathe. We don't necessarily use the word posture, because posture may not necessarily mean that we're in a better position. It may mean that we've changed our emotional state. So we're going to talk about the position. So I'm going to go to a kneeling state. I might want to put something under my knees so it's comfortable. And all I'm going to do here is I'm going to gently rock forward. And as I rock forward, all I want to be able to do is I want to be able to reach out to the side. Now the interesting thing about this is now we've got this direct correlation about, okay, I'm giving the T-spine movement, I'm driving my scapula, but I'm also driving my hip, which I now know work together. I now know through the fascial lines they are connected, right? So I've got a scenario now where I can start to vary where I drive my arm, whether I drive it at an anterior lateral, whether I drive straight lateral. I might even want to take it now and go in the posterior lateral position. But once again, I can take my hand now, I can incorporate my deep front line, I can bring my shoulder ring into that deep front line and I can start to drive. Remember to keep the movements small. It's not about intimidating, it's not about forcing, it's about just feeding the tissue some motion now that allows that hydration and lubrication to reappear.
Yeah, the biggest mistake people will make, especially doing the mobilizers, but also with the OFR, is they'll get in that position and they'll just start to move. And the speed of motion will affect the response of the tissue. And please remember that, because that will affect the outcome that you get from whatever you're doing. And it's not that you can't move fast. We need to move fast.
Yes.
But sometimes the tissue, and oftentimes the tissue, will need to be loved before it's then trained,
Before
so to
it's
speak.
loaded.
Yeah, love it before you load it. So as he was saying, remember now in that position, as he's rocking back and forth, the hips are moving and the body's moving, so he's getting motion through the scapula posterior, he's getting motion through the ribs over here, and he's getting motion back into the adductor complex that we were just using. So that's how we're connecting those to help the thoracic spine and to help you breathe better, move better, feel better, and live better.
So remember guys, it's not about the big movement, it's about the small movement.
Yep.
The smallest movement will make the biggest change.
Enjoy that.